Page 4, skipping rocks. I'm going to go through a routine that I use to learn a piece of music. Everybody has their own routine, but these are my videos. I'll use my routine, and we'll see what we end up with. First thing I like to do is just kind of look it over, kind of an overall view. I see how long it is, about 2 pages long, and I see a bunch of eighth notes and quarter notes and things. I think you can handle all that. I look at the clef signs because they're not always treble and bass. I have to check them. Now, they can change in the middle of a piece, but I'm not interested in that right now. Although, when I look it over, I do kind of look to see, are the clef signs changing? But these are treble and bass to begin with. Now, I look at the key signature. It's 1 sharp. Well, that's either in G major or E minor. I look at the end. The here kind of sounds G major to me. I'm going to guess it's G major. See, you have to be careful on trying to figure out the key signature, or what key it's in, because a piece a lot of times might start on its 1 chord or end on its 1 chord or both. It doesn't have to, and that's the problem. But I have found that most pieces do end on their 1 chord. So a key in G major will end on a G major chord. It's the one. Most cases, not always. And so I always look at the end first. Really, it's kind of got to listen to the piece. Does it sound like it's G major? Because G major sounds different than E minor. It's different. You can usually tell. Then that time signature, so I know what I'm looking at here, 4/4. I'm going to take it one hand at a time, make sure I got the fingering all worked out. The fingering in the book is suggestions. Any fingering I suggest is a suggestions, duh. If you have a teacher, do the fingering they tell you to do while you study under it. Later on, you might decide to change it. Right hand, we're sort of in this position. If you look at the first few fingers here, and for now, that's about the only finger number you need until top of page 5. On measure 18, you see the numbers at the beginning of the lines, the little box, those are measure numbers. So I can refer to measure numbers here. Measure 18, you might change there, but for all of this first page, you're pretty much in this position, meaning you don't need any of these other finger numbers. Make sure you're reading the notes, not finger numbers. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. The little grace note, I'll come back to that. I'm going to leave it out for now. And I connect everything now. It should be a 2 on that half note, except you got to lift up for the rest. I'll do the staccatos and stuff later. Page 5, measure 18, it's here. Now, if you don't mind being up in here with your hand, you can use thumb on the E flat. If you do, only be there long enough to play it, and then come back out. Don't stay up here. If you got bigger hands and fatter fingers, that doesn't work, so you can use second finger on the E flat. Just reach. That's what I usually do. I like to keep my hand out here. Yeah. Whatever. Pick fingering. Let's look down to the coda. Let's third line down. You're here. Okay. Now measure 30. The notes are here. It has the AVA above the staff. The rule for AVA, in case you forgot. If it's above the staff, you go up. If it's below the staff, you go down. And it's only the staff it's next to. It's not both. If they want both staffs to do it, they got to put in a note indicating both. Or they got to put the AVA above both staffs. So the right hand is coming up here. For the right hand, the left hand's not moving. It's going to stay there. And then the last line, the measure 34, the AVA went away. You're down here. Okay. Left hand, let's see what it's up to. They got to 1, 2, 1. See, our problem is we got 6 notes to cover with 5 fingers. We have to figure out a way to do it. And there's different methods for doing it. This is one of them. You just cross over for 1 note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Well, this is fun. Let's go down to measure 8. Is it? It's 1 and 2. Cross over for 1 note. Just crossing over for 1 note. Now, I don't really like this 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's a personal thing. Nothing wrong with it. You can do it. But I don't care for it, so I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to change the fingering slightly. So rather than starting with third finger, this is measure 8. Rather than third finger, I'm going to come out and use 4. then I can cover them all in one hand position. But then in measure 9 for the D, now I need thumb on that one, so I got to scrunch up. Then I'm back in position. That's the way I'm going to do it. You do it however. Measure 14, you're down here. And measure 16, again, same. 1. Measure 18. The first was with thumb, but then you can come back up to second because you're still in this position. Measure 19. 1 and stay in this position. You're using the awkward fingers. I like that. You need to use those fingers. So I'm just transferring away from those fingers. So here, T, here. I'm trying to exaggerate it so you can see it better, but that's all I'm doing. Now when I first put the hands together, I'm probably going to hesitate all over. I don't care. I just want to know how the fingers are working together here in the hands. At the beginning, it's not bad. And we're here. So when I play the G, that comes out. Rest. Rest. Make sure you're playing. Get the idea? So I go through the whole thing very slowly and carefully, and I put the hands together. Then I go back over it however many dozens of times it takes, and I work out the hesitations. So it's a steady beat. You can keep it slow but steady. Then I'll add in the articulation and these grace notes. Hinge at your wrist for the staccato short. And that grace note, just a real quick note. Just play it. Now, measure 5. That E comes up when you play the C sharp. There. Measure 8. The whole note comes up when you play the D in the next measure. Right there, it comes up. Get the idea? That's basically the articulation throughout. And once I have that under control, then I'll think about the dynamics. See, I kind of build it one thing at a time because I can't focus on a lot of stuff at once. So got all that. I could kind of do it automatic more or less. Then on dynamics. MF is mezzo forte, whatever you think sort of loud is. But in the second measure, that's the melody. And the dynamic applies to the melody. So this now has to be soft. See, when you have this, like in measure 8, I put a little swell in there because you can bring that out a little bit. The bottom of the page, on measure 17, you get a hairpin to go up. The left hand's been really soft here, although at the end of the line, here you can kind of bring it out a little bit. But here, we're going to go up to loud, but the loud applies to measure 18 to the right hand. Not the left hand. So see this ba, and then all of a sudden you're soft because the right hand gets it. You're loud here in the right hand till the end of the second line. You're here because now you're going to go back down to like you were at the beginning. In the coda, the first line is moderately loud. The second line you're loud, and this is connected. And then in the last line, you come down to sort of soft, but it's still connected. You see on measure 34 above the staff, there's an LOCO, local. That's just a word to tell you play it where it's written. The AVA went away. You don't really need the local, but it's clear. It's good to have it. Doesn't hurt anything. It's just telling you to play it where it's written. You do it anyway. Now I want to talk a little bit about what I call the road map. Road map, referring to those old printed out maps we used to use years ago before GPS, so we could figure our way around on a trip. We know where to go, when, and where. This is a road map. A lot of pieces you can just play it start to finish through. But this one doesn't do that. If you take a look at the end of the second line or on page 5, you'll see the double bars. And above the double bars, there's a DS all coda. DS means go back to the sign. All coda means go to the coda. Okay. The sign is a weird, fancy looking S looking thing, and you'll see it above the staff at the beginning, at the second measure, that little thing. So when you finish the second line on page 5, you go back to the second measure on page 4, and continue playing. The beat's steady. Continue playing. The coda sign is at the end of the third line, or measure 13. Circle with the crosshairs. It has the words to coda. You don't always get the words. Sometimes you just get the sign. And when you finish that measure, you immediately jump over to the third line on page 5. And the coda, and then you finish it off. That's a little longer than it looks. Now for the speed, they say a carefree and optional swing. And then they give a metronome. Right? And now again, the speeds are not exact. They're a range. That's why you have a metronome range. It doesn't say play it at this speed. It's a feel. You can actually go beyond that. I wouldn't go any faster than there. I think you could slow it down a little bit. But it's the carefree part. What's that? Well, no matter how carefree you get, for the most part, at least in this book, try and keep a steady beat. Don't get too carefree with the beat. But the optional swing, we could, if we wanted to, swing this rhythm. Swing, blues, and jazz, they all kind of swing the rhythm. That's where you're doing long, short, long, short. You know, there's no notation for it. You just feel it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And of course, it only affects the eighth notes because that's all we're swinging. So here, instead of, we could swing it. Now be careful when you swing stuff. There's a limit to how fast or slow you can go and still swing. It needs to swing. It needs to bounce along. And if you go too slow, it doesn't swing anymore. When we do that, then we start playing it even. Or if it goes too fast, it's silly. So if you're going to play it real fast, don't swing it. Just play it. Don't try and swing that. But if you slow it down and kind of enjoy it, kind of as a carefree attitude type thing, then yeah, swing it. You don't have to go that fast. Slow it down a little bit and enjoy it. Take it at your speed. Try it at different speeds. Just make sure it's accurate when you do it. Let's play this together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the louds and softs. I'll do the staccatos and that kind of stuff, and we're going to do the DS, all coda, and the whole bit. You see, if you have a teacher and you play a wrong note or a wrong rhythm, the teacher will let you know, assuming the teacher catches it. They don't always catch them. But if you don't have a teacher, how do you know you got the notes and all right? So that's what I do, a play with me. I have a section in most of my videos for the play with me. Let's play it together, slowly, and check. Are you playing the same note I'm playing when I play it? That's why. Can you get the notes and the rhythms right? We're not performing it. We're just checking notes and rhythms. Now I'm going to swing this rhythm here, so let's just take it slow and easy. I'll give us 4 counts to come in. 1 and 2 and ready and go and rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 1 and 2. To the side. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the coda. 4, 1. 4, 1. 1 and 2 and rest.